help.
They just come to you to tell
You made it seem like I'm just going to lay entrepreneur healing hands on people and be like, oh, your business is healed now. Go back and make money, my child.
And we're back. Welcome to the latest episode of Commerce and Chill. I am Jessica Johnson Coe.
I'm Waleed.
What's good, Waleed?
Chilling.
You chilling?
Chilling.
All right.
You chilling?
I'm not chilling. Depends what that message says.
I don't know. I'm looking at my Slack. It's just going off all morning.
Womp, womp,
But
womp.
those of you who don't know what Slack is, it's a great communication tool for businesses. And this episode of Commerce and Chill is not sponsored by Slack. But I encourage you, as an emerging business owner,
Take a peek.
to
Try it out.
look at Slack, especially if you have a small team, large team, medium-sized team, because communication is super important.
You look like you're on the struggle bus.
I'm not struggling. I'm a little tired, but I'm not struggling.
Okay. Well, there are a lot of business owners out there who are struggling. You've made it through the first 5.5, 6 months of this year, and you're trying to figure out whether or not you should keep pushing forward or whether you should call it quits. We are here to say, stay encouraged. Don't give up. Don't quit.
Well, you got to evaluate where you are, because there are times when you should stop. And maybe you shouldn't stop being in business or be an entrepreneur. You just might need to stop with that particular thing, that product, that service, or the business that you're in and do something different. So you need to evaluate it. So I'm not just saying, hey, keep going, because you don't want to keep going down a road that takes you kind of nowhere.
Right. Here's the thing. Here's the premise. Are you feeling stuck in your business right now? Do you feel like you're working hard, but you aren't getting anywhere? You're not alone. In this episode, we're going to share the reasons why you might be struggling as an entrepreneur, and more importantly, what you can do about it. So we're going to give you 8 tips, thereabouts.
Here we go ahead, tips again.
How
Listen, the next episode, I'm banning tips. I'm saying it right now. Go ahead.
give us feedback. If you don't want the tips, tell us you don't want the tips.
When we say these are the top
Why don't you
5
like tips? Tips are easy. It's
Tips is
4
so used.
letters.
It's mad. Oh, everybody says it. You go to everybody's, not everybody's, but you go to a lot of the YouTube and this and that and podcasts. They be like the 3 tips that'll help you, the 5 tips that'll make you a millionaire.
Maybe because that's
the
what
3
resonates with people. Maybe people are looking for tips.
Well, maybe people need to get exposed to something different. People used to ride horses until Henry Ford was like, boom, here's the horseless carriage. He changed he changed the name and delivered it different.
So you want the tip list insights?
Here are the 5 tips you should never follow if you don't want to be successful. Right? Come up with a different word for tips. But you, the etymology, the blue school.
I like tips. I don't have no problem with tips.
The Merriam-Webster lady. Come on.
I don't have any problems with tips.
Let's
Anyway,
get another synonym for tips.
we're going to give you a synonym, better yet, a definition of struggle. According to Merriam-Webster, struggle means to make strenuous or violent efforts in the face of difficulty or opposition. Is that you in your business? Do you feel like you arm wrestling your clients?
Or yourself.
Do you feel like you slap boxing?
Your team members.
Yes. Yes. Do you feel like your bank account just pimp
I feel like
slapped
I'm
you?
getting WWF'd by some of them.
No, that's it. Did your bank account just WWF you?
You just get table ladders and cheered. You got hit with a ladder.
It doesn't have to be that way. I talk to many entrepreneurs from all different walks, and overwhelmingly, when I hear people, I'm not going to say complain, but
They just voice
their concerns about struggling in their business or being stuck. Typically, it's because they're not in alignment. Either the products and why are you laughing?
Just you said alignment. I'm thinking like
Of
the
a car?
moon and the stars.
Oh,
But a car is a good example because the car is not in alignment.
right,
It kind of, you let go of the steering wheel, it kind of keeps drifting to one side.
right.
So that's a good alignment is a good analogy.
Either the products and your services that you're offering are not what your target market want, or you haven't clearly defined your target market and therefore you cannot connect with them, or your pricing, it don't work, or you're not doing the revenue generating activities and or customer maintenance, follow-up activities that you should be doing. That's what I typically hear from struggling entrepreneurs. Chief, what about you? Because you do talk to a lot of people too in business, and you know, when you hear about the struggle, what kind of feedback do you get when you hear people who are in the midst of the struggle and they come to you for help?
Well, I wouldn't say they coming to me for help.
They just come to you to
You made it seem like I'm just going to lay entrepreneur healing hands on people and be like, oh, your business is healed now. Go back and make money, my child. I wish it was that simple because I have a line out the door. I'd just be giving blessings all day to people. Here's one thing I find super interesting, and I was having a conversation about it with Damien, who's, what are they? Our resident associate,
relationship ambassador.
Yeah, I said resident associate. What is
like
this?
you were back in college,
right? Because they use the term.
Damien is the one in the dorm that helps me find my way.
Right.
No.
When I get lost in the hallways. So Damien and I, who's my relationship ambassador in this accelerator program that the Soapbox is in, we had this like big conversation, and today's Wednesday too. I got a call with him today. We were talking about this with emerging businesses, and it's always these peaks and valleys that we were talking about in the conversation we noticed. And I'm really like looking at my notes and just thinking back to a lot of conversations. You know, I had a great conversation with several entrepreneurs last night, and then was fortunate enough to meet a couple new others throughout the past couple weeks. And I listen to them carefully, and I hear these stories of, you know, they'll get press or they'll get introduced to like some good connection, and then their business will spike, but then it goes back to where it was. And then something else happens and it spikes, but then it goes back to where it was. Or, you know, they'll get on some kind of, you know, some press, or they'll get on like a Good Morning America, like something like that gets them this large amount of exposure. Or somebody does something on social and they get a ton of exposure and they start making some sales, but then it dies right back off. It's these peaks and valleys. It never goes up and then plateaus, and then they stay at this new level, and then it peaks again, and then they stay at a new plateau. And we're not saying this is the case with I'm not saying this is the case with every business, but a lot of what we've seen and heard in these conversations and these entrepreneurs have expressed. And I'm really trying to figure out what is that missing like formula or missing link where why do they spike and then aren't able to say or do whatever they need to do at that spike when that spike happens, or it's starting to happen like GameStop to the moon. And it's starting to happen to say, what do we do, or what do we capture, or what do we identify that causes this to happen, and then continue to do that or replicate that so we stay on that plateau.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with being on a plateau. I just think it's how long you stay on that plateau before you go to the next plateau. So if I'm doing this revenue and then I get some attention and I spike, I need to figure out how do I keep on that level. So then now I'm plateau, and then I emulate it again and I plateau again. So every time I spike, I stay at that level or something.
Or you're higher.
Right. I'm higher than what I was
started.
originally. But a lot of times we see they'll spike up and then they go back to their original level.
Right.
So it's just like, oh, I got to bump up in revenue, or I bump up in sales, but we're not keeping it consistently. And I think, and from what I hear, that's the real struggle. And I think that's the big thing we need to identify as emerging business, to figure out what is that thing, that component in that, to say this is what it is. Now keep doing that. And I don't know for sure, because I'm guilty of it too. But at JSB, we've kind of figured that out and fixed it. And it's been interesting at JSB because JSB is not driven on marketing and advertising like the Soapbox is, because a lot of what we do at JSB, 96% of our business is referrals and word of mouth.
And relationships.
Right, and relationships and word of mouth. So-
trust. Relationships cost.
Right.
There's an investment
But
in
we don't-
time and
but
resources.
we don't see,
but
we
it's
don't
not.
see that in that traditional space where someone says, "Hey, this is great." Like, and we've had it. Like we were on, you know, you was on NBC and all these other different channels, or you know, some of these
Shout out
business
to Peter
channels.
Alexander, my Northwestern Wildcat classmate.
Right. But because of the nature of our business, because you get that notoriety, it doesn't spike like somebody goes on our website and starts ordering a bunch of security guards. Like, it doesn't work like that here. So it gets you the exposure that reinforces some of those relationships, or gets you the exposure that starts a new relationship. But those relationships here, they might not turn into business for like 1, 2, 3 years from now. Like, we're about to crush it on a whole new level, but that's based on a relationship that you started like 3 years ago. And now this thing is like, what is it? You reap what you, is it reap what you sow?
Yeah. But you don't reap what you sow.
Oh, hold up. I gotta go pick up my check. It's at the door. They're coming through right away. But it was
You reap more than you sow.
right. That's what the saying
That's
is, right?
that's what we were listening to this morning.
But is that the original saying? Like, when, I don't know, where do people get it from? The Bible or something? You reap what you, I don't know where it comes from originally.
Can you check that out?
I don't know. But it's you
But
reap
and.
more than what you sow.
I mean, but even think of
But
it.
if you
But
think of
think of
it-
it this way: like, think of a size
plant
of
a
a seed.
seed,
Whatever comes out of the ground is
gonna
typically
be
going to
more
be
than the seed.
larger than what the size
If
of
I
the
plant,
seed was.
if you
So-
plant, you're right. If you plant a grape seed, when it grapes or tomato seed, when it grows, the vine is going to produce many tomatoes
or
or
even
grapes.
think about a watermelon seed. Think about the size of a watermelon seed compared to a watermelon.
But the seed doesn't produce one watermelon; it produces the vine, which produces many watermelons.
Right.
So the saying, I totally forgot what I was going to say, but
So
anyway.
you're saying is you reap more than you sow.
You reap more than you sow. Because I was going to say you reap what you sow.
So let's just do a level set really
More.
quickly. According to Business
putting that on my
News
IG for
Daily,
tomorrow.
an unsuccessful entrepreneur typically
Hamlet.
falls into one of the following buckets. Either you have insufficient marketing, you have a lackluster business plan, or you have the wrong business structure. So typically, if you can figure out the marketing, if you can plan accordingly, and if you make sure that you have the right structure and team in place, that can help you to alleviate falling into or stepping onto the struggle bus. Can you tell me the last time you felt like you were struggling in business?
Bro, I feel like I'm struggling right now. Do you not
Why?
see me in this camera?
Why? Just said why? I mean, I have
I
some
feel like
ideas.
somebody
but-
needs to put cucumbers on my eyes. I need that mask thing that they be having, and that put that mud stuff on, like, and just put that towel around my head and just lay down.
So
and
you
just-
need a
not
spa
lay
day.
down like this because it's dead. But,
you
know,
need an entrepreneur spa day.
I don't need an entrepreneur spa day. And what is an entrepreneur spa day? It is when everything is in alignment. Everyone goes to work. There are no chargebacks on the credit cards. All the orders come in flawlessly. There's no. Listen, I'm struggling with expanding our senior management team because the company is growing, and I made reference to the relationship you started 3 years ago that is now producing. Where, let's see. Well, what based on that relationship, based on this one conversation, and this in the grand scheme of this relationship, this small piece of work that we're going to start with them will add.
It'll
increase the company by 50%.
Just for context, we have an existing client with whom we are working, and we're discussing the opportunity to do additional business with them. And they basically are asking us to quantify how much more business we want to do with them. So in this expansion, what we're looking at is an increase of 4 to 5 times what we're currently doing with
Well,
them.
I'm just talking about not even the whole thing that you're talking about. Well, 4 to 5 times what we're doing,
What
but I'm
we're
just talking about
currently
the
doing
one
with
segment
them.
we had a conversation
And
about yesterday.
they're our second largest client.
Right. I'm just talking about that small segment we had a discussion about. Forget the whole piece that you had a separate dialogue with them about. I'm speaking about the piece that we're talking and focusing on directly, and that one small slice of it will increase JSB by 50%. So building up the team and the system to when that happens, that it becomes a smooth transition. It won't be perfect, but it will be less bumps in the carpet than if we're just like putting stuff on Post-it notes and we're just winging it and be like, did you do that? Email me, call me. It's smooth. So the system, building out the team. Listen, I think the biggest struggle, not the biggest, but the struggle is choosing the right people. Like, forget this. People are like, oh, I can't find nobody. Listen, I'm not buying into that. There are tons of people out there who want to work at great places. It's finding them, putting your message in front of them, getting it where they live, where they view stuff, so they know that this opportunity exists, and then connecting with them. You were saying.
So then, just to recap, what Walida said is that in both of our businesses, and you may be able to attest to this, we've experienced waves, ebbs and flows of business. At times, we felt like we were struggling. That time might be today. But in those situations where we did feel like we were struggling, there were three main pots that helped us to get out of the struggle. And those pots focus largely on people, making sure we have the right people in the right places, processes and systems, and to some extent, the right technology to support those processes and systems, and then having a plan or having a vision of where we were trying to go. And then even if we didn't get there, we could adapt a plan if we had one. So those are three key areas if you're trying to get out of your struggle.
Areas. See, he didn't say 3 tips. I like that. My man, Steve. Dang. Every time he calls me, like I'm always doing something, I can't answer it. And then I call him back, he doesn't answer. He owns laundry. He owns several laundromats.
So we're going to give you some specific tips on things that we did to get out of the struggle bus and back on the road to prosperity.
You said get out the struggle bus?
Off the struggle bus.
Okay, because I was going to say, I'm pulling the emergency exit in the back and I'm just jumping. And if it's one of those public buses,
at the back door,
I'm pulling that strip around the window. You know, the window flaps out. I'm bailing, baby. I'm out.
I hope it's at a stoplight.
I don't care. You ever see that Geico commercial? Stop, tuck and roll, Grandma. And she jumps out the car. Put that in this episode. Tuck and roll, Grandma. That's me. The car don't need to stop. I need to get off the struggle bus. Go.
Start with your mindset. Because if you're in the mindset of woe is me, it's so hard. Yep, it's going to be hard, and woe is going to be you. I do not profess that. I do not proclaim to the woe is me mindset. So get your mind right.
I might be like, oh, that's that mumbo jumbo, whatever that stuff they say. Where you're like, oh, you got to speak it and believe it. But to a certain extent, like, listen. If you constantly complain about something, you wonder why you constantly have that, because you keep complaining about it. You keep bringing it to fruition yourself because you're like, oh.
You're manifesting it.
You're like, my life sucks. Well, your life will always suck because you keep saying it sucks. Like, I'm just like, you got to do action. It's not like you just sit on your couch every day and be like, oh, I wish I was a millionaire. I wish my account, the decimal on my account was moved 5 places to the left. It kind of, you had to put in some work behind it.
Yep.
But it starts with your mindset.
Right. So, number one, what we did to get off the struggle
bus. We should have
bus.
somebody come on that talks about mindset on Commerce and Chill, like how you refocus and recalibrate your brain. Like, that would be some deep stuff. Yeah.
Make a note of that, team. We listened and made notes on what people complained about in their businesses, right?
Yeah, I listened to a lot of that.
So we went to events and people were like, oh, my business is this. We're like, oh, that's not what we want. We want the opposite. And it's always best to talk in the affirmative.
And then listening to other people complain, whether they're in your industry or not, you might not be able to help them solve their problem. You might be able to, depending on your experiences. But listening to their complaints, depending where they are in their business life cycle compared to yours, you will probably learn quite a bit from it and then take something from that and improve your business. Like, I listen to people listen, I'll give you a great example. I listen to someone complain about cleaning sneakers in the laundry industry, right? Laundry/dry cleaning industry. And they was like, yo, I will never do those. Then something happened. Those sneakers cost hundreds of dollars. They're going to complain and you're going to have all kind of problems. And did a list of cons of why not to do it. And I was just like, okay, yeah, And then in my head, I was like, so if these are all the cons, what's the pros? So then I listed out all the pros, and let's be absolutely clear. The pros far outweigh the cons. And I was like, how often would those bad things happen? And if they do happen, what do I have in place? Well, I got insurance, right? We've got business insurance. Maybe the person curses me out. I think I can handle that. My skin is a little thick. But the pros far outweigh the cons.
I recently read something that said 67% of people make purchasing decisions based on reviews from peers. So we read reviews that people had about not only our businesses, but our other businesses in our space, and either in the industry or our competitors, to determine what we should and should not do.
Yeah, I read reviews to this day. And it kind of started with like, and this is what we talk about changing your mindset. And I'm be straight up. I would read the reviews and just be like, they worse than they having a rougher time than us. So like, I'm good. But now my mindset has shifted where I'll look at a review and say, okay, we're doing this. How do we get better? So then I will read reviews of other businesses. Before I would just read local ones and be like, yeah, we're better than them. They suck. Look, they had a problem. And now I'll read reviews in the industry all over the United States, right? Of different businesses in our 2 industries that we play the most in. And I'll see what people say, not just bad, but good reviews too, to say, that's interesting. Or how the person handled when they got a bad review. Did they leave a comment? What did they say? How did they say it? And then learn from that. Like, I got a lot from that, like, fact.
Number 3, we experimented with non-traditional tactics in our spaces
Every day.
So, if everybody else is, as my friend Jay Green says, if everybody's driving defensively, somebody has to drive offense. So what does that mean for you and your business? What does that mean for you getting off the struggle bus, right? If everybody else is getting on the struggle bus, maybe you need to get out of line and get off. Number 4, we read things that had different varying viewpoints than our own, right? So it's easy to get in a silo and only see things one way. Only spend time with people who agree with you and see the world the way that you do. When you look at differing perspectives, it gives you insights into how you can change your approach personally and your approach in your business so that you can find success where in the past you might have been struggling. So read different viewpoints.
That's so funny.
Because the next point is watch the activity in industry forums. So,
it's similar to the reviews, but
right.
it's different because the forums, the industry forums, it's a lot different conversations going on.
Because those are people that tend to be the players. It's not necessarily the consumers or the end users.
Exactly.
These are the people who are making moves.
Sometimes I will say stuff if I have value to add, but I'll just read them. Like the alerts go off on my phone. Like I'll look at them real quick, like in the morning. I'll scroll through them and just see what the top things people are saying. Depending on what the topic, then I might drill down and just read a few comments. And then look at who's saying what and, what can I learn from that?
Number 6, we connected with more people. So Waleed talked about going to the event yesterday and how he's been meeting more entrepreneurs. I think it's important to have just a very firm base of people, right? Because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And sometimes that one person that you need to get out of the rut that you're in is somebody that you already know or one introduction away. So the more people you know, the more people know about you and your business, the better you position yourself for assistance when you are on the struggle bus. Number 7, we went to non-industry events, because if you're only spending time with the people who are doing the same thing that you're doing, then what you gonna do? You're gonna do the same things. My Salesforce coach, Chris, said to me, focus and simplify. Yes. So you want to be focused on that target consumer, that target customer, that target client, and make sure that your processes are very simple. That does not mean that you don't go into other environments so that you understand how to put that focus and simplicity into best practice. And then number 8, we went to industry focused events so that the other people in the industry knew that we were there, that we showed up, and knew that we were serious about what we did. And so I'll give you an example. Was talking to a large corporation, a corporate representative at the WeBank National Conference last week, and he mentioned that his company was doing an RFP for security. Well, it just so happens that I saw him last week, and he said, you know what, when it comes to security, you're who I know. I don't know any other security people. Now, we have the opportunity to do some business with that corporation, but they're looking for someone who has a national footprint. That's not us right now. We have the opportunity to be creative in what we recommend to this corporation. So other security companies that we've met across the country that have a footprint in the regions where this corporation is based, we can potentially go to those firms, especially if we've met them through industry forums and industry events.
Cooperative economics.
There you go. And then put them on. So that's the approach that we're looking to take. So those are the 8 tips, the 8 steps that we took when we were on the struggle bus to get off the struggle bus and back on the path to prosperity. And we hope that you will employ some of these tactics and techniques if you are currently in the struggle. Know that we have 6 months left in this year, and you can yet accomplish and surpass your goals for 2022 if you have the right mindset, if you're focused on having the right people, processes, and systems, as well as a plan and a vision to get there. And if you are committed to not staying on the struggle bus, or committed to not being friends with the struggle bus crew, because that's the other thing.
Yeah,
if you spend time with people on the struggle bus crew, they not gonna want to let you go.
The struggle bus is very comfortable. It's very addictive. Because what's that thing? Misery loves company. Mm-hmm. Like you get hung up in that crowd of the struggle bus people. Like you get on you end up on the struggle bus. You got to figure out how to get off the bus, because if you stay on that struggle bus too long, that thing will weigh down on you. It will change your mindset. You will begin to think that is norm. That is what it's just supposed to be this way. Because there are other. Listen, I listen to quite a few business owners, and I listen to them talk. And some of them have indoctrinated. And I don't even want to say, like, it's not that they're bad or good. They've been broken. So when they get broken, they believe, like, this is how it should be. There's no other way. Like, these other people that did it, they were lucky, or that's just because something happened to them. But that's not the norm. That can't be me. Right. So, like, that struggle bus, if you get on it, let me tell you something. Make sure you get a transfer. And get that transfer. Oh, they don't give transfers no more. I just dated myself. Damn. Because they used to get the transfer slip back in the day on the buses here in New York. But you need to get that. You need to be on a transfer. You on that bus, or like you take it and you just get off. And then you start walking.
Buzzer, next stop.
Like you don't know what a transfer is. You just get off at the next stop and start walking. Because you don't want to be like, don't get stuck on it.
Right.
Been there, done that.
It's like our friend Chanel Christophe Davis said, I feel sorry for these businesses out here that aren't winning consistently. And I said, why you feel sorry? She said, because they're satisfied with just getting the same contract or getting awards for the work that they've done in the past, but they're not focused on
maybe that's what maybe that's what they want.
Maybe.
But the thing is, if she feels sorry for the ones that are saying they want more, which I could see, and then they're not doing the things to achieve it, is what she was saying. And
well, here at Commerce and
Chill,
Chill,
bus.
We want more for you and for your business.
And speaking of more, if you're watching this episode and you haven't clicked the button right below that says subscribe, we would appreciate you doing that, so we could have more people like you in our community and we can share more. So hit the subscribe and hit the bell. So when these episodes come out, you'll get notified on YouTube, in the app, on your browser, and I think you get them in the email too. So more.
So we thank you
so much
for spending more time with us today. We hope to see you soon on another episode of Commerce and Chill. In closing, I am Jessica Johnson Cope.
I'm Waleed.
We'll see you.